I did make it bigger, so I go up slightly higher with this line. You see this line we have across here? Now, let me take a look at that. That's kind of a base colour. I'm going to start thickening this up a lot. I think it needs to be much, much thicker because that's very transparent now at the moment. You can see the lines underneath. So I think I'm just going to have to go with just thick paint on its own and nothing else. Okay, let's get some yellow, Naples yellow, and some cadmium red. So we have this kind of a peachy pinky colour here. Now let's just have a look at this first and see. Okay, that's not bad. My brush is not the best either. The brush has started going a little hard, so you can see it's kind of showing all the brush strokes. Go right down with this, all the way down, look. That's the only disadvantage with MDF, is that it shows the brush strokes a lot more. If it was canvas, you wouldn't kind of notice the colour underneath so much. But because it's MDF, it tends to show every single little brush stroke. So that's why there's a lot of softening to do. It's a little more work, but I think it's worth it in the end because you can get some beautiful effects with the MDF. Now, let's take some more cadmium red into that, okay? I'm just going to start adding a little more cadmium red just around the center. Okay, and then it starts getting very orangey towards the back, doesn't it? So let's go into our yellow and cadmium red. Now you could even at this stage, you see this yellow, I have this mustardy yellow. You could even add a little bit of that just at the front while we have it on our brush, save us doing it later. Okay, just like that. And then more cadmium red. Now we could even take a hint of crimson as well, look. It's a very reddy, rich orangey, reddy colour, isn't it? Go right down like that, follow the curve down. And then soften it in. Now you can see we have, what you're trying to do is you're looking at the shapes of those colours. So let me just clean my brush. You'll notice there's a very rich red patch right in the centre. It has a little curve and it kind of tapers off to the back, doesn't it? We have this little curve of red in here. And that will show the curvature of the glass, because if I leave it flat like this, it just looks flat. There's no shape to the glass. So what I want to do is add a bit of shape. I'm just going to take some cadmium red and a hint of crimson. Okay. In fact, I'll just get more cadmium red for my palette. And this is something you can just take your time with now. Just have a bit of fun. Relax some afternoon. Have a little cup of coffee next to you. Just relax and have a bit of fun with this. Now let's take that cadmium red and let's just put sort of a curve in the glass. You see that? And let's just leave it soften off through the rest of the paint. And mind you, I will be putting in highlights and darks later as well. But right now I'm sort of focused on just those kind of shapes. I'm going to take some crimson in that. And do you know what I will actually take? A little touch of sienna, because sienna mixed with red does give you a beautiful kind of rich reddy orange colour as well. So let's try a touch of burnt sienna in this. Okay, a little sienna. And that really strengthens the red. Okay, a little crimson and some burnt sienna. And that will really give you this very rich red as well. There, you see that? That beautiful colour, that's what I'm looking for. And I'll go right back all the way. Softening this through, just paint, no thinners, okay? Curve. I'm not too worried about that area. There's a kind of an orange, a slice of, I don't know what it's called. Is it what it looks like? Is it an orange or some kind of a fruit? It's some kind of tropical fruit. I'm not sure what it's called. My knowledge on fruit is not the best, I'll be quite honest. So I'm not sure what that's called, but it looks nice, it looks tasty. put this along here just like that, look. Okay. And I'm then going to lighten this grey. So that colour I have now mixed with a little white and perhaps a touch of black, I think would make just the right colour for up there. A very light grey. I'll start with this. It's a bit bright, but it's okay. I'll go with that first. And I'm using just paint again on its own, okay? I'll use my pointy brush in a minute. I just want to get the most of the colour in with this. Okay, and now I'm going to darken it. I'm going to start darkening that colour. Take a little more black, and I'm just going to start darkening it a little bit. Okay. It needs to be darker, doesn't it? I'm going to try some burnt umber and black with a little touch of crimson. I can see it is quite dark actually, isn't it? You know, you can start off with a dark colour and lighten it, but I find it much easier to start off with a light colour and darken it bit by bit. With things like this, I think it makes life much easier. So another little bit of dark colour in there, just kind of soften it through like that. Okay, and one last little bit of dark. I'm going to go with little black and cadmium red. Just sort of around the middle. It's basically a case of softening colours through, okay? Right. Now, I am going to switch to a small round brush. Not a pointy one, just a small little round brush. And I'm going to start adding hints of this pink up here, because you can see in the photograph, it kind of reflects off of the glass slightly. In certain areas, you have a little bit of pink reflecting off of the top half of the glass from the alcohol that's in the glass. So you have a little touch of that light pink kind of just hitting the glass ever so slightly, like so. So while I have this brush in my hand, I'm going to just start putting in some. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, does it? Get some white, put some white up here. Right, I'm going to leave that and I'm going to come down and do the base of this glass. Okay, I want to do this base. And we can concentrate lastly on that beautiful piece of orange sticking out. Now, as I keep saying, try and simplify this yourself. If you're, not comfortable with something like this, just try to simplify it. I'm going to pick a point around here and here. Would that be right? Okay, let's go with that. Let's bring it in and come down and out. Do the same one. They don't have to be perfect, okay? Bring it in and down and then out. We can refine everything later. Don't be thinking that when you put a brush stroke on, it's the final brush stroke. These are not the final brush strokes, okay? So don't be too worried about that. Now you can see a lovely curve, like that. And we have a lot of stuff going on down here. I'm going to paint the base in a dark grey, only because we can see it better then, isn't that right? Let me get some nice grey mixed up here, a little bit of black and a bit of white. Okay, so this comes down and stops around there, doesn't it? Same on that side. This curve, you can do You can pick up something like a coin or some big coin or some plastic lid or something like that if you want. I'm just going to go for it, really. I think that's probably the best thing to do. I'm just going to go for it. If I need to make it wider, I can make it wider, okay? Now, stop and take a look. Okay. A little bit wider, I would say, on this side. Right here, I'm going to get a small flat brush, and I'm simply going to fill this in with a dark grey. Okay, so I'm going to start with my darks, and then I can just put in my bright highlights on this. I find this is probably an easier way of doing something like this because, you know, if you stop and you sit and you look at the base of this glass and you see all those different lines and all those different shades, you're going to become confused as of where to start, okay? I find just by filling everything in like this, it gives you something to start on. And it just makes it all less confusing. And so look, we're not painting an exact copy, all right? We're not. We can, you know, take our time. We can do what we like so. Then what I'm going to do is, again, take my fan brush and do the very same thing with a few hairs of my fan brush. I'm just going to pull this outwards, look. Just going to soften it outwards very gently, just like that. So look, easy little techniques. I know it's just pulling a fan brush across, that's all. It's nice and simple. Little simple techniques make all the difference. Now I'm going to go down and brighten around here, and I'm going to sharpen this as well, just with titanium white, nothing else. And I come down here and put another little one there. Again, I'm just looking at the photograph. I'm looking at what I can see. That's all. That's all I'm doing. Look at what you can see and copy what you can see on the photograph. That's all you need to do, okay, folks? Very, very, just keep it simple. Now I'm going to take some of this orangey, rich orangey colour, reddy colour, like that. Simply just pull it around in the curve that you can see. Then let's go for some white, pure white on its own. And this is where it kind of comes to life, all right? Keep going with thick white paint, following those lovely curves. We also have a couple going through these little reflections of red. Sometimes even just a little dab makes all the difference, okay? Little dab like that and that. Look, little dabs, leave your brush sort of swirl and deposit the paint here and there. Sometimes you really don't have to worry about the shapes, just let your brush do the work. Little thick clumps of paint coming off of the glass, and you can see it's all very sort of swirly down here, isn't it? Then some black I'm going to just darken around some of that. I see a nice kind of a dark black coming up and down like that. You see what I mean? Little black coming down, the curve on it, you can see that. And then just around these little patches of red, bits of black there. Just have some fun, everyone. Really, just have some fun. You can see I'm putting on lots of thick paint. I'm just letting the brush drag that paint off. And we don't have to go too far with this. Really, we don't. I'm going to go up with this brush now and just, again, add a little light. And I need to bring this glass up slightly more. That very bright colour first. Some yellow and some red. Let's just get a nice rich colour. Nice rich orange. Let's get the shape of it right just first, okay? So, it comes across like that. Comes down a bit even. And comes up. And then comes a lovely curve. Like that, doesn't it? Okay. Then we have a very dark pinky blacky colour, which comes from here like that. Does that look okay now to you? And let's simply fill all of that in. Let's start with this lovely bright colour. Right over our glass. And you're probably thinking, oh no, I'm going to ruin my glass and all that. You won't, don't worry. We can put our glass back in front of this again in just a moment, okay? Don't worry about that, really. Take some crimson, and I'm going to get some burnt umber, or burnt sienna. I'm going to just fill this in with crimson and burnt sienna first. Then take some black, and I put a little crimson as well. So you can see the idea of it's cutting through the fruit, okay? And I will bring some crimson with black down here as well. Now we also have tiny touches of white where the light is kind of catching just along the edge here. Okay, one or two. And how is that, my friends? What do we think about that? There's one last piece I want to do. And it's simply adding a lot of white across the edge of that up there. So what I want to do is, I'm going to take a dry flat brush, take lots of white, and you see that very bright highlight we have over here? Let's just along up here, okay? really accentuating the white reflection and the light catching that glass up there in that corner. And that's it, my friends. I'm not going to make it too more complicated. I could keep going at this for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, but I'm quite happy to just leave it like this. I think this turned out rather nice, don't you? Let me just pull this highlight out here, get rid of that line, and we're done. Oh, I forgot one thing, a reflection in here. You see how easy it is to forget something simple like that. And you look back and you think, I forgot the reflection. Let's take a little bit of white and just put a little white like that and like that. And another thick piece along here. And we've a little bit of white kind of just popping through it, don't we? Just a little, just give it a little couple of brush strokes. That's really all you need to do. Look, a couple of brush strokes. And along the edge here. I wouldn't be going much further than that, really. I really wouldn't. I don't think you need to. Well, thank you so much for joining me, my friends. I hope I haven't made this too complicated for you.